The 2026 NFL Draft doesn't have the deepest group of wide receivers like we've seen in recent years, but I think there are a handful of names who have the potential to be major risers throughout the college football season. One of those players is Louisville wide receiver Chrisbell. Bell was a player who got on my radar a little bit late in the process, but after going through his tape, I think he's one of the more talented receivers in the entire draft class. In today's video, we're going to be going over Chrisbell and talking about how high could he get taken in the 2026 draft class. That's what we'll be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We do prospect breakdowns like this every week on the channel, so hit that notification bell so you never miss out on an upload. Leave a comment and let me know which players you guys would like to see me talk about in a future episode. And without further ado, let's take a closer look at Chrisbell. Chrisbell was a 3-star recruit coming out of the 2022 recruiting class. He had initially committed to play at Southern Miss before flipping his recruitment to Louisville in December of 2021. He didn't see the field much as a true freshman, but has been a starter for each of the last 2 years for the Cardinals offense. His 2024 season was really his breakout campaign. He finished the year with 43 receptions, 737 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the year for Louisville. Bell recently has been generating a lot of buzz in the NFL draft community, with Dane Brugler saying that he was wide receiver 2 in this draft class. While I wouldn't go that far myself, for reasons we'll talk about later on in the video, I do still think Chrisbell is a very underrated player that should be getting talked about more in this class. The first thing that really sticks out when watching Chrisbell is his elite size mixed with really good explosiveness and top speed. Bell is listed at 6'2", 220 pounds, and has a really great large frame to be able to consistently challenge the boundary. But he mixes that with really impressive speed and explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. I do want to give a shout out to James Foster for putting some of these clips together. I'll leave his links down in the description below, but some of the in-game tracking numbers on Bell are pretty impressive. His top speed last year was 21 miles per hour, and he mixes that with a really nice first step. He has the athleticism to pull away from defenders and even showed some really nice upside after the catch. He showed the ability to take a quick slant or a screen and take it to the house. Bell averaged 7.2 yards after catch per reception, and I thought he had very nice overall size and athleticism for the position. On top of that, I think Bell showed a really nice underrated release package. There doesn't feel like any wasted movements, and I thought he had a really good understanding of how to set defenders up and create separation within his routes. He has quick feet mixed with the nice first step explosion that we talked about that really enticed me, and I think he's pretty good at playing through physicality and beating press coverage as a result. He doesn't have a TikTok release package, and I think that's going to go a long way for him at the NFL draft. I also think Bell had reliable hands for the position and did a great job of winning 50-50 balls. He had an 8.5% drop rate in 2024, and I thought he had feathery soft hands for the position. He felt like he caught everything that was thrown his way, and he's a guy that I love the way that he utilizes his hands. He high points the football, and he does make really big plays. He showed the ability to box out defenders with his big frame and had a 60% contested catch rate, which is a very nice number, and I think it's going to make him a really fun name to watch throughout the season. There are some concerns with Chrisbell, and there's a reason why I don't have him as high as others in the community, but by far the biggest concern right now is his route running. Bell seemingly ran the same 3 routes: a vertical, a quick slant, or a comeback. He had one of the more limited route trees of any receiver I watched in this class, and I didn't think he showed a lot in that phase. I didn't feel like he was a dynamic separator, I didn't feel like he was a great nuanced route runner, and I really want to see some more improvement, and I want to see a little bit more double moves and those kinds of things in his tape. I also think the lack of production is something to monitor. We mentioned he was on my radar late, but a part of that is the lack of production. He has just 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns in the first 2 years as a starter, and his yards per route run are 1.79 and 1.70 in that span. Bell just hasn't been able to consistently produce at a very high level, and while I don't think stats tell the full story, it is concerning to say the least. On top of that, I just thought Bell was a very below average pass blocker. It's not a major question, and it's not the end-all be-all for a wide receiver, but I did feel like he didn't bring much in the run game. I'd like to see him be more of a threat as a blocker and play a little bit more physical. Chrisbell is a very fun player because he has a lot of the boxes checked that you look for. Size, speed, release package, hands, but he's not an awesome route runner and has pretty lackluster production throughout his career. With that said, I'm still a really big fan of his game, and I think he's a guy who will be able to impact the game with his speed and size in a variety of different ways. I have Chrisbell as my number 6 wide receiver in the class and a top 50 overall talent for the 2026 draft. In terms of a scheme fit, I view Bell as more of a number 2 receiver. I think he can be a really great vertical threat or a flanker type of receiver at the NFL level, and if you look at his college career, that's kind of what he's been. Bell has been the number 2 behind Jamari Thrash and Ja'Cory Brooks, both of who went on to have pretty solid NFL careers. Brooks it's still up in the air on, and Thrash is a starter for the Browns right now. But I think with the lack of an elite route tree, that could come back to hurt Bell as a prospect, and I think he profiles better at being a number 2 wide receiver at the next level. My pro comparison for Chrisbell is Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin. Measurement-wise, they're nearly identical. They have bigger frames to play on the boundary, and even in terms of their athleticism, their estimated 40 times are nearly identical. When I watch Bell, I think he moves very similarly to Chris Godwin did in his prime, particularly as a route runner and after the catch. They both are physical weapons that could be solid number 1s, but they are better suited as number 2s on their respective teams. I think Bell could have a very similar career trajectory that Godwin has had in Tampa Bay, and he's been one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the NFL. Chrisbell is criminally underrated. He has size, speed, quickness, a great release package, and physicality for the wide receiver position. He's not a perfect player and needs to clean up some of his route running inefficiencies, but ultimately, I believe that Chrisbell will be a top 75 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft.